Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to Comic Conquest. We're here to talk about the Black Widow movie that came out Friday. We saw it Friday, and then waited a whole weekend. Uh,
So no spoilers.
but
There's gonna be.
yeah, this first part of the episode is gonna be no spoilers. That's our review, and then we'll get into spoiler territory, where we talk about twists and stuff like that. Anyway, review-wise, on our non-existent scale for movies, I mean, we can always use the one for the TV shows, but for MCU scale, just to give people an idea, we've got Thor: The Dark World all the way at the end. That's a 1. It's a 0. It's all the way at the end.
I haven't seen it since the year it came out. I'll be honest.
Neither have I. But then we've got something like Avengers: Infinity War, which I think a lot of people say is like the best MCU movie, or at least like in competition. But let's just say that's like 9, 10, 8, 9, 10 area. Okay, we'll have to do we've got future videos for that kind of thing. But that's just to give everybody an idea. So, with that 2-minute explanation of where our thoughts are, I'd put this movie. Do you have like an immediate area?
See, I like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
I do. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
But it's like a 7.5. If I'm being honest.
I put it at an 8. It's solid all around. It's like, I think its big problem is something that we'll get into. Like,
It's kind of a spoiler thing. I'm putting it 7.5. It's everything you like. It's got comedy. It's got action. It's got character development. So if you like those basic MCU building bricks, you're gonna like this movie.
yeah, I mean, with since everybody knows Black Widow's dead, that's a fact. Avengers Endgame has happened. If you haven't seen it, I just spoiled a big. But why are you here?
Yeah.
But like, there's no fear of like losing Natasha throughout this whole movie. So I guess that kind of detracts a little bit from it. So there's that. I mean, you don't get it where in like the Avengers, like the very first Avengers, like, oh my gosh, are they killing Tony? Like,
the odds are very low because you know the result of the movie, and it still gets me excited to see what happened during the movie. But
yeah. You're more worried about the other characters more
she's
than
alive.
anything.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's a good movie. I do think that if this came out on its whenever it was supposed to initially come out, like the February of 2020, I believe it was, or it was like March.
Something like that.
February, March. But I feel like it would have totally gotten blasted because, I mean, and I'm being honest here, I think it would have been a much lower score with everybody. But since we had like pretty much a 2-year break of movies, of MCU movies, we didn't get...
People are starving to go see a movie.
Because, I mean, we had Far From Home, which is a pretty epic movie in terms of like what's going on the scale, and that follows up Endgame, and that one got blasted for being like, there's nothing going on here. So like, how are you supposed to follow up the mega defeat of a Titan with Black Widow? that's just what I was thinking to myself these past couple days.
And honestly, I like when we watched the movie and we finished the movie and we got all the way through it, and credits and all, it left like a bitter taste in my mouth because you're like, I like some of these characters, and they're dead.
Yeah.
Specifically, Natasha Romanoff.
Yeah. I mean, Yelena, great character. Red Guardian, I enjoyed him thoroughly. He's great.
Everybody in the movies, they do their part really well. And it just makes me love the Black Widow character even more. And then they're like, then you got to come to realization that Endgame happened.
Yeah. So, good movie. I'd recommend go seeing it. But with that out of the way, we're going to start talking about some moments and stuff. That's
Spoilers.
spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend going and watching it. But with that out of the way, I just do want to say that this movie, go away, go watch it. Okay, they're all gone. This movie doesn't really feel like anything happens, in a way.
I think we both said it kind of leaving the theater too, and it's cool to watch and it's entertaining. And
Yeah.
bottom line, it's entertainment. We just talked about this. Far From Home got blasted because you do two movies like Infinity War and Endgame, and it progresses your storyline so much. I mean, they cover so many years in Endgame and Infinity War, and there's so much things happening to these characters that you're expecting that coming off the heels of it.
Yeah, and this is like,
And
we're just taking it like, not like a bad step back, but we're like
they're just
slowing
pumping
down.
the brakes a little bit.
Yeah,
They're
it's
just
the same
pumping
thing
the
that
brakes.
happened with Ant-Man and the Wasp. That also got blasted
Exactly.
because that immediately followed Infinity War, and it was
Yeah.
a really poor thing for them.
And it has no connection to it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
utterly blasted.
yeah. So they're pumping the brakes at least as we see after these big movies because there's not a lot you could come off with. Peter post well, this is a fucking Black Widow thing. We'll get to Black Widow. It's not a MCU rant.
Let's focus. Let's focus. I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, oh,
He's looking at the time. I say look at the timeline.
oh, 7 minutes already.
I'm upset. They don't. Yeah, I'm just really upset. It just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth because it just reaffirms how much I love the character of Black Widow.
Yeah. And I mean, a quick synopsis of like what's going on, like very brief, not we learn a little bit about Natasha as she grows up. We see that her training was more psychological and how they controlled her. The new widows that are going on that are produced by the Red Room are chemically controlled, so they're like literally brainwashed, and there's a MacGuffin cure.
And surprise, Red Room's alive.
Yeah, Red Room's a thing. Blah blah blah. There's a cure to get the chemical out, and that's how Yelena gets free. And then
she meets up with Scarlet. We gotta use the power of family to defeat the Red Room.
Dominic Toretto is in there, and he's like drifting around in a donut. Taskmaster shows up at one point. Then Red Guardian, they free Red Guardian with a pretty cool jailbreak scene, which is pretty cool. And then they go see their mom, and all these characters are family because of
undercover mission.
A mission they did way back where they pretended to be a family, and they did become a family. But basically, it ends with the Red Room being destroyed through some explosions and pretty cool ending. And yeah, so I mean, it's a fairly basic movie, but like still enjoyable.
Yes. Let's talk maybe one of the most disappointing things for
everybody's
both me and you in this
disappointed.
movie.
Everybody. I've been looking around. I don't think I've seen one person that's like, yeah.
Taskmaster. A big deal. It's just me and you both, I think we both talked about this in probably a Loki episode. Last week's episode, or the episode on Friday. We both thought Taskmaster would never take off the helmet.
That's what we were hoping. As we were walking in, I was like, dude, I kind of wish we get like this stud of a character that's just like Snake Eyes. It doesn't matter who's under the mask. He mimics your stuff, and does it, and he's cool. Or it's like, oh yes, that's Tony Masters, and he's just because that's the real identity of Taskmaster, of which it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's revealed. It's revealed because I mean they keep mentioning this character. It's a little girl. It's the daughter of the owner of the Red Room, or the head of the Red Room, right? It's this little girl that Natasha thought she killed. Turns out she just two-faced her. So I don't know if that's worse, but
Savitar, pizza face.
Savitared her, but like, yeah, and then she's also chemically controlled and stuff, so it's wild. right?
And she's so good at mimicking things because she has a computer chip in her brain.
Yeah, she's computer chipped. It's not whatever photo. I could probably. I mean, I could.
Photogenic memory, or like
Yeah,
it's not
it's
a
like a
skill.
It's not the
it's
photogenic. It's. I mean, I could probably find it. I have this wiki.
But it just upsets me because you took away all the mystery out of the character. I think a great part of Taskmaster is the mystery. And also Taskmaster in this movie honestly could be cut out.
Yeah,
if
probably.
I'm being completely honest. You could cut out Taskmaster, it's the same movie, you replace him with some goon. Same movie.
Replace him with some like high level goons or whatever. I mean, I think
it's the same movie.
I think the most the best scene that Taskmaster has is at the very beginning. When she first shows
claps
up.
Black Widow.
It's like,
she claps Black Widow.
We just learned that this character is totally awesome, and we get this cool chase scene. The first interaction and the chase scene, I think those are the best things, but those, again, could just be another Widow. Or at least the second
and also
one.
They didn't focus, I feel like, enough on the complete mimicry.
No, they did not. They had it. They had Taskmaster watching videos.
Look, they had
kind of
5 seconds of him watching, or her watching Hawkeye. But we do see a couple moves. We see, of course, the Captain America shield, which is like her primary weapon in this movie.
Yeah.
We also see the knife tricks from Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Bucky does.
Yeah.
And then we see like one thing from the trailer.
We see the Black Panther jumping around and stuff. We see the mimicry of immediately in the first scene of Black Widow doing the leg trick. Well, Black Widow's
but she's also.
It's also, but like at that point you're like, what? But like,
yeah.
Otherwise,
just a little
some Hawkeye stuff
character.
too. Yeah. But
I also feel like the Hawkeye bow and arrow thing, which was cool. Another big like kind of disappointment, I think, which really feels like they're putting a break on this whole building the universe thing, is we got like none of Ross.
Yeah, we did. We got like nothing. We got him for like
Ross.
3 seconds.
I was really expecting for Ross to be setting up this, as almost every series has been setting up a little bit. The Thunderbolts,
or Dark Avengers,
which I guess they set up with the post-credit scene, which is Yelena going to kill Clint Barton.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah. But Ross, you really find out nothing.
Yeah.
And maybe if they gave me a hint of that, I'd like it a little more.
I wish we got a little bit more about Alexei here.
That's true. Alexi's not really. He comes in really for comedic relief.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Fat Captain America. Captain Russia.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we're shitting on the movie a lot here.
It's good. I promise.
We're
good.
Just it's pointing out the
bad parts of it.
The choreography in this movie is great. One of the sequences, of course, that we see in the trailer is like the skydiving one.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
I'm excited for Shang-Chi. If we get action scenes like this, of course, I want them to reduce the amount of edits. This wasn't the worst edited fight scene Hello, trash truck. I'm just gonna talk over it. But it's not the worst cut to death fight scene that the Marvel Cinematics ever had. But for Shang-Chi, I would really like them to draw back and let the scene breathe.
And also the prison sequence is done really well. I really like that, and I like the dynamic that you see between. That's why I like the way that Marvel now is writing the dynamics between characters. We see it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we also see it here where during these big sequences, the characters are interacting. Like we see Alexei and Natasha and Yelena juggle like a weird dialogue.
Yeah. So kind of moving into more prediction territory. Let's talk about that post-credit scene where, we kind of touched on this at the end. Yelena goes back to 2023, I think the MCU's at right now, in terms of their present day.
Yeah.
Where we see Natasha's grave. with a bunch of tributes and stuff. It's very sweet. And Yelena has her dog, which is something she mentioned.
During the movie.
Yeah, during the movie, that she wanted a dog. But she's got her dog, she's visiting, and that's when Valentina, or Val, from what was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we'll touch on that timeline and stuff, she shows up, and it's clear that Yelena's been working for her for a little bit. So, and we get a little teaser for where Yelena is going to be popping up next time, because I think everybody's been predicting this, that she's going to be the successor to Black Widow in some way or another. And she's been given the target of who, Cole? Who's her target?
Clint Barton, the murderer of Black Widow.
Utter murderer. Yeah, so it seems that I think there was an article a while ago that said Yelena was going to be showing up in the Hawkeye series, but this just confirms it, that she's either going to be... It seems that she's going to be she's going to be kind of a villain, at least for, I'm going to say, the good first half of this series, of the Hawkeye series, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool, and her character does really well during this movie. She they obviously trying to let her shine a little bit,
setting her up,
moving forward. And I hope she also, I think they're starting to form this team, of course. Dark Avengers, US Agent, we have Yelena now.
Yeah, those are officially part of Val's team, is Yelena and the US Agent.
And I'm sure, of course, we're going to see Abomination soon. I'm sure we're going to start building more towards this team. But the Hawkeye, it's going to be interesting how they deal with this. But I feel like during the movie a lot, they talk about Arrow Guy. Like, I'm sure she'll piece it together pretty quickly. Arrow Guy's a good guy. Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of the biggest prediction here. There's not a lot to go off of in this movie.
I mean, like we said, they don't really move forward a lot.
Not a whole setup. It's a lot of resolution for Black Widow's character, and letting Natasha specifically be done. Loki, last episode next week. That's sad stuff. What if stuff coming.
When does that start, by the way?
I think it starts in August.
Okay.
But so we've got a couple things planned between here and now, and we hope you like it. So thanks everyone so much for watching, and
Bye.
Bye.